Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibis? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. It is Saturday, December 7th. Before we jump into the updates we have for today, just a reminder, tonight at 5:30 Eastern, join us on YouTube for a live with Amy Williams, who is one of the deliberating Murdaugh jurors and also just put a book out, The Long Road to Justice. We've got several other content creators joining in, so it's really just a big collaboration. And we're going to let each creator have a few minutes to ask questions from their group, and it should be fun. If you can't watch the live, you can always watch it on replay. Let's jump in. Not going to be a super long episode, but I did want to take some time to update on the cases that we're following. We're going to start with the Brian Thompson murder. He is the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, who was brazenly gunned down in Manhattan. The FBI has joined the investigation, and the combined reward between the FBI and the NYPD is $60,000 for information leading to the arrest and the conviction of the suspect. Whoever did this probably watching the news nonstop, and New York City Mayor Adams said that the net is tightening. What have we learned since the last episode? Well, the suspect came to New York from Atlanta on a Greyhound bus, November 24th. That would have been the day before Thanksgiving. They do have the passenger list from that bus. However, you're not required to show ID to board. It's believed he did not check into the hostel until November 30th. Once he got into the city, his first stop was to the Hilton where Brian was staying. He kept his face covered at the hostel most of the time. However, he slipped up because he was getting a little flirty with the desk clerk and lowered his mask to show his face. That is on the screen right now. That is who police believe to be the killer. In addition to the NYPD and the FBI, the Atlanta police are now involved in the investigation. When asked if they knew who the shooter was, New York Mayor Adams said, "We don't want to release that now. If we do, we're basically giving a tip to the person we are seeking, and we don't want to give him an upper hand at all. Let him continue to believe he can hide behind the mask. We revealed his face. We're going to reveal who he is, and we're going to bring him to justice." Let's look at the new timeline of what we know. At 6:44 a.m., Brian is shot there on the streets in Manhattan. 6:48, the gunman rides a bike into Central Park. 6:56 a.m., the gunman leaves Central Park on the Upper West Side, and they notice on surveillance his backpack is gone. At 7:04 a.m., he gets into a taxi on 86th in Amsterdam, and at 7:40 arrives at the Port Authority Depot at 178th Street, where he is believed to have taken a bus out of the city. Yesterday, the suspect's backpack was found in Central Park near the carousel. It was between two boulders. Before they even opened it, they sent it to forensics for testing for any kind of prints or DNA to be found on there. What about the weapon he used? It's believed to be a World War II era Brugger and Thommet VP9. The original purpose of this weapon was to quickly and humanely kill sick animals without frightening nearby animals or people, hence that suppressor on it. The NYPD chief of detectives, Joseph Kinney, said they don't know the suspect's name yet, and at this point, they think he acted alone. For their theory on motive, they think it could be a disgruntled ex-employee or an angry client. And while he and his wife have been living separately for quite some time, Detective Kinney said nothing in their investigation at this point indicates it had anything to do with his personal life. Now, in response to the shooting, other big insurance companies are starting to scrub top executives from their website and also providing armed security details for them. I will continue to follow this very closely. If there are any updates, keep an eye on the YouTube channel. I'm really utilizing those shorts when we get little nuggets of information, but not enough to do a full episode. Moving on to the murder of Judge Kevin Mullins. News Nation got their hand on some recordings that could implicate the judge in a sex for favors scandal. A producer for Ashley Banfield got these recordings. They were related to that civil lawsuit involving Deputy Fields in the scandal where he was exchanging sex for someone who was out on bond to not have to wear her ankle monitor. The woman in the audio recording is believed to be Sabrina, the female who was having sex with Deputy Ben Fields. Her attorney said the judge's chambers were essentially a brothel. In the recording, Sabrina says, but he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers. The man asked what kind of stuff, and she said just with girls, sexual and stuff. She's seen one partly where the judge is having sex with girls for their bail for them to get out of jail. Now, Sheriff Stines' defense attorney said their defense of the shooting revolves around this lawsuit involving Deputy Fields. I think we haven't even scratched the surface of this case and the reason that the sheriff brazenly walked into those chambers and shot that judge on camera. It will all come out, and I'm very interested to see where this goes. Up next, a little update on Suzanne Simpson. Her husband, Brad, has been arrested for her murder, even though her body has not been found. This is the case where the neighbor heard the yelling, didn't call the police, and then she's reported missing. KSAT reported that sources told them Suzanne's DNA was found on a handheld electric saw that her husband, Brad, tried to hide. He has a court date on Monday. I'll wrap that up on Monday's episode. Moving on to Diddy. His attorneys filed a new motion accusing prosecutors of spying on him. The filing says that the prosecution is using his detention to spy on him and invade his confidential communications with counsel. His attorney also submitted a letter to the judge asking that Diddy be allowed to use a laptop that would be prepared by the government. The note said on November 25th, 2024, the government provided the MDC with a laptop that Mr. Combs can use to review discovery, take notes related to his case, and otherwise assist in his defense. In the 9 days since then, Mr. Combs has still not been provided with the laptop despite numerous inquiries by defense counsel. He says Diddy has been given the option to use the laptop in the video teleconference room during certain times when legal staff is available. The other option he has of using the laptop is in the legal visiting room between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3:30 p.m., but not both options. His attorneys say these restrictions are not required of any other inmate on Mr. Combs' unit. They significantly limit the time available for Mr. Combs to use the laptop and force Mr. Combs to choose between using the laptop and meeting with his attorneys. Next up, a little update on Lori Vallow. On Thursday of this week, she was deemed competent to stand trial. And yesterday, she had a status conference where the judge asked if she still wanted to represent herself. Of course, she said yes. Lori told the judge she's been studying case law in the 5 years since she's been incarcerated. Now, we did learn there will be 2 separate trials there in Arizona. She's facing charges for conspiracy to commit murder for her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. That's going to be the first trial, set to start March 31st of next year. The second trial is the conspiracy to commit murder for Brandon Boudreaux, her niece's ex-husband. As far as I know, no date set for that one yet. It's going to be the hot mess express, y'all, with her representing herself. If she actually goes that far and does, I think we are in for some interesting trial viewing for sure. I will be at that trial starting March 31st, and I just hate for the families that they have to sit through 2 separate trials and not one. But the last thing we're going to talk about today is Susan Smith. I was on Banfield earlier this week talking about this, but Susan thought if she was released on parole, maybe Dancing with the Stars would want to have her on. You did not misunderstand me. She thought she would be a huge hit on the show, y'all. She told a man that she's been communicating with that she also thought about starting an advice column or something on social media, maybe something about prison reform. Now, for Dancing with the Stars, she thought since Anna Delvey was on there, maybe she had a chance of being on as well. Anna Delvey was on with an ankle monitor. She had been charged with grand larceny, which is a huge departure from rolling your 2 boys into a lake while they're strapped in their car seats. But you have to wonder what kind of reality Susan has put in her own mind about her public perception, but she's wrong. We hate her here. The whole country hates her, and we haven't forgotten what she did to those boys or her husband at the time, David. We know she was very upset after she was denied parole from people on the inside speaking to media about it, and maybe this is partly why. She thought she was going to come out, dominate social media, and be on Dancing with the Stars. You can't make this stuff up, but I would venture a guess every 2 years she's going to be denied parole and never get out. She deserves to stay in prison for the rest of her life. That is it for today. So kind of a busy week coming up. And a reminder, Tuesday, Donna Adelson has a court hearing. I'll be live streaming that and wrapping that up. And then we will just keep up with all these cases we're following. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. We will see you soon.